afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Alyssa Corman Kinshreeve here to break down today's action. And on the show, we're going to talk about, of course, what went down with the major indexes. Looks like we finished up with a mildly mixed session. We'll dig into that and some movers underneath the surface, Ken.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at Skyworks, which tried to break out on this pretty bullish news from Apple about strong demand for the iPhone 13, but a breakout just kind of fell flat. Also, take a look at two stocks that held up pretty well today: BioNTech, as it test supported its 50-day moving average, and Lululemon, which is still in buy range and continues to attract buyers.
Well, we'll check in on those stocks. And first, a look at the indexes. The NASDAQ closing down 0.2% for the day, while the S&P 500 and Dow were able to gain 0.1% for the session. So, Ken, what do you make of today's action?
Well, it was another one of these days where you had a mixed and mostly unchanged performance for the stock market. You had small caps got hit again. We'll take a look at IWM, which fell sharply again and is coming near its low from last week. But one of those days where when you look at what the Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq did, mixed and mostly unchanged. But we had a lot of growth stocks under pressure. A lot of very successful IPOs in recent weeks. Many down 7, 8, 9, 10%. So I think you and Ed talked about these the ARK. Innovation Fund, ARKK, and that was down around 3% today. And the Innovator IBD 50, another proxy for growth stocks, that was down close to 3%. So growth stocks faced a lot of selling pressure, even though the market ended mixed and mostly unchanged.
Yes, a tricky day, and small caps continuing to lag as well. And I think it's notable, Ken, that you pointed out ARKK closing below its 200-day line today. Maybe these stocks just need a little bit of time to set up after seeing huge corrections and then strong rebounds. Maybe they just need to put in a little bit more time to carve out bases. But let's check in on Skyworks Solutions, SWKS. As you mentioned, up strongly out of the gate in today's session on this Apple news, but got turned away at this buy point.
Yeah, I know you guys discussed Skyworks on IBD Live earlier today, and this is a stock that benefited from the Apple news. It's an Apple supplier, along with Qorvo. We can check in on Qorvo, which also tried to break out. But this Skyworks action is just a good reminder of what a difficult environment it is for technical breakouts. When you're in a good bull market and institutional money is coming in from the sidelines, that's an environment where breakouts tend to succeed. So when you have price action like this with Skyworks, not sure this breakout was fueled by institutional buying, probably a lot of retail buying, and but very disappointing performance. You can see it cleared a buy point, faded badly, and closed below the entry point. And I mentioned Qorvo is another Apple supplier that tried to do pretty much the same thing. It tried to break out of a cup with handle base, and look at that nasty reversal. And this was supposedly on good news for both companies. So it's been a challenging environment for growth stocks for some time now, and today was just another harsh reminder.
Right. And with the NASDAQ showing signs that it's extended and it could need to pull back after being in the lead here over the last number of weeks now, making new buys when the market is extended is something that investors should also factor into the equation, that perhaps there is a little bit of heightened risk when the overall market could be due to come in a bit.
Absolutely, and listen, the outperformance of large cap growth stocks continues to be a story. Many of these names, whether it's Apple or Microsoft or Adobe, a lot of these stocks are still holding up quite nicely. Look at Apple; it's just been on a torrid uptrend, up another 2% today. So money continues to flow into large caps, and that's buoying the Nasdaq 100. But a lot of these large cap technology stocks are extended past
Exactly.
proper buy points. You don't want to be buying them up here. We've been talking about the fact that the Qs are 6.5, 7% above their 50-day moving average, and that's at a point where we've seen pullbacks in the past. Not necessarily the start of brutal bear markets, but it's just a point where it's starting to look extended.
Yeah, right. You are, Ken. You gotta buy those stocks right. Don't want to chase them. And BioNTech, BNTX, that is setting up here. We have a trend line that we've drawn together on a past IBD Live episode, I believe, but finding support at its 50-day moving average. So move above this trend line could make the stock actionable.
Yeah, and that would, a move above this trend line would just be just a pretty good case of support at the 50-day. It, last week it moved above the 50-day line, closed below it yesterday, and again on a weekday for a lot of top-rated growth stocks. BioNTech held up pretty well. So closed above its 50-day moving average. If this thing can get going and maybe break out over Monday's high, which would correspond with a breakout over this trend line, that would be a good time to enter the stock. So on a day that we saw a lot of red, BioNTech held in there and continues to test support at the 50-day.
All right, one to keep an eye on. And Lululemon, which has been off of our radar for a while as it carved out this base here with a depth of 30%, but it was in the spotlight in 2020 with a nice move there, but it has sat out since last summer. It's been almost an entire year that it's really just marked time, but is now Lululemon's time to reassert its strength, Ken. We saw a gain of 1.7% in above average volume today.
Yeah, you can see the 21-day exponential moving average for Lululemon is sitting right around that last buy point, and Lulu was very strong again. It crossed over the 380 level pretty powerfully, but again, this is a growth stock that hasn't certainly come under a lot of selling pressure like a lot of other growth stocks, but it did close near its low today, still up a little over 1.5%. So to me, it's still in range here. In light of today's reversal, I mean, it closed higher but near its session low. Kind of want to see if this stock can stay in buy range, and maybe today's volatile action will be a thing of the past. But it's still technically in the 5% buy zone. We go back to the weekly chart and see that it's working on several up weeks in a row, and then midway through this week, you can see it's basically closed unchanged from the prior week. And you look down in the volume bars, seeing some signs of accumulation here. Now, because it's been moving sideways and it has been a laggard for a little while, the relative strength rating of 48 isn't very good, but relative strength line has started to turn higher, and definitely there have been buyers in this stock recently. I think it's a good one for the watch list. You could either start a small position here, but again, the market is kind of showing some uncertain action when it comes to growth stocks. You can see Lulu's recent earnings and sales very solid. They got strong estimates as well, so I think it's a good name to watch.
Good fundamentals there. Okay, Ken, thanks so much for weighing in, and thank you all for watching. We will be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, so make sure you tune in, investors.com/IBD Live, and we have our Swing Trader scorecard coming up tomorrow. So if you are a Swing Trader subscriber or a trialist, keep an eye out for that, our monthly webinar where we're breaking down the action for the past month, going over some trades and answering your questions. We look forward to seeing you there as well. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow.